believe that cancer just happened or it is completely a spiritual condition. But there are some scientifically proven facts about the causes of cancer. I am Patience Ibaso Achiche, and this is the Learn With Me series brought to you by the Oncology Nurses in Training, National Hospital, Abuja, Nigeria. Today we're going to be talking about the causes and risk factors of cancer. And with me in the hub is a very intelligent nurse who is always willing to share information. She is no other person but Nurse Imiade. Nurse Imiade, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Please, can you say hello to the public?
Good day, guys. My name is Imiade Okwen. I'm a registered nurse and oncology nurse in training, National Hospital, Abuja.
Okay, Nurse Imiade, I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for being willing to share information with the public. We had Nurse Kamal come talk about what cancer is, the history of cancer, and why it's crab-like. And we want to know what causes cancer. Most people are asking, okay, if this is the history and origin of cancer, what are the causes of cancer? So to you, what do you understand as cancer and what causes cancer?
Cancer is a series of events where cells in any part of the body proliferate and grows aggressively.
Okay.
So it has not been proven that there is one major cause for cancer. It's we don't have a specific cause like other things, but there are a series of events and risk factors that we've noted that can cause cancer. We group them into endogenous and exogenous factors. Endogenous factors are factors that are within us as a human being. We're talking about the genetics.
Okay.
We're talking about hormones. Those are the endogenous factors, things that are inside us. And then we look at the exogenous factors, which include factors that surround us. We're talking about the environmental factor. We're talking about diet. We're talking about the diet itself and the lifestyle.
Okay, Nurse Imiade, thank you so much. Regarding the endogenous factor, you talked about genes, and when you talk about genes, people really get scared because they begin to accuse their families and their generations. Oh, why was I born into this family? So are you trying to say that because one is born into a family where someone had died of cancer, that person is definitely going to die of cancer? Is that what you're trying to say?
Not really, actually.
Okay, please throw more light.
But when we look at the genetics of human, we're talking about inherited genes that we got from our parents, which they got from their parents, and then the line goes on and on like that. So when we're talking about the genetic factors, there are some genes that have been inherited from our parents, and we're talking about the BRCA1, the RB retinoblastoma gene. We're talking about the Lee-Farman genes. So, but then, what am I talking about? Let me explain deeper about this. So you see, in genes, you know, when we talk about the DNA, it's the portal, is the house where a lot of things happens to us. It's like the key. Every day, the DNA is being taken care of so that the cells have specific functions, right? So some of these genes are there to help us with the regulations of these genes, and the major things they do at that time is to help them grow. They also help regulate them, and then, like, you know, cell death, so that new cells can come up and then there won't be problems. So there are some genes that we got. So, you know, it's just like the way you look. It's part of the gene that is being deposited into you. So when we go into deep, we talk about the BRCA1 and BRCA2 gene. The BRCA1 gene is a cell regulator that is inherited from our parents. It's not everybody that inherits it. It's a gene that predisposes people to breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and then in some cases they mention prostate cancer too. So if somebody in the family has cancer, it's better we do a thorough genetic testing on them, one, to find out, okay, do they personally have this gene? Is that why they have this cancer? If it's negative, then we can assume every other person in the family is. But then, just like I said, genes are tricky. Just because somebody does not have it does not mean you don't have it, and just because somebody has it does not mean you have it. So the proof to all of this at once is to have our genetic testing done for BRCA1 and BRCA2.
Okay, you mentioned and talked about lifestyle. How does lifestyle affect one's health pertaining to getting cancer?
Thank you. So earlier today, I was seeing someone. I'm so sorry if I'm offending this speaker on Instagram today, that was talking about how tiny habits brings to a downfall or to a bad thing happening to us. Like, nobody actually wakes up. In his word, he said nobody wakes up to say, I want to burn down my house. But then in the series of events that goes on, we have that will lead to that house burning. Like, you just wake up, you put petrol where there is fire. Those are the little events. So when we talk about lifestyles, let's talk about the things that we do on our day-to-day activities. And one of the lifestyles that I think we've put up, it includes diet, what we eat into this body, what we drink. We talk about alcohol. We talk about some social habits like smoking and drinking. We talk about sedentary lifestyle, and then we talk about people that are obese but they're not doing anything about it. So we will be looking onto the body mass index. Some people are just naturally obese, but then you can stay in the line of obesity. So lifestyles like what we eat, eating of processed food, social habits, smoking of tobaccos, drinking of alcohol, sedentary lifestyle, not moving, and obesity, and people that are obese not trying to keep it within the normal range.
Okay, so you also talked about environmental factors, but I'll come to that. Now, there's something that I have also studied while in school and in training about the preventable illnesses such as infection. So, how has it come to be that infection causes cancer?
Thank you. Then we'll be looking it from this aspects. Do you understand? It's like an endogenous thing too, because it comes in just like it can come in form of endo and then exo, like work with me, because infections can be gotten from our environment. Like we're talking about the bacteria, we talk about viruses, and then it goes back, juggle back to lifestyle too. Talk about sexual habits. One of the proven ways to get cervical cancer has been HPV strains, and then we've narrowed it down to HPV 16 and 18,
which is the human papilloma virus.
Yes,
so
human papilloma.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. And then we have new strains. HPV, human papilloma virus 16 and 18 causes about 80% of it. But then the 10% has been new. There's a new strain, 31 and 45.
Okay.
So viruses like that can be gotten from having multiple partners. And then there is this thing I also want to help us understand. For hepatitis B and C, they causes liver cancers too. And then there is a bacteria that we always overlook actually, H. pylori. It causes GI cancer.
Okay, which is always found in the stomach, right?
Yes.
And people would just say, "Oh, I have ulcer,"
yes,
and ignore it, not knowing that it's going to result to cancer. That's really funny. So, looking at the environmental factors that you have earlier mentioned, what environmental factors predisposes one to having cancer?
One, we talk about radiation, chemical deposits, and then work. Some people work where they produce asbestos. Some of that chemicals is enough to cause cancer, usually lung cancer and every other type. Also, second-hand smokers, talking about use of generators, and then people that smoke, staying in an area that people are heavily smoking. Those are things that can also be exposed to cancer.
Okay. And finally, you had earlier mentioned hormones. I wanted to bring that at the end because it's going to be very conflicting. Can you throw more light comprehensively on how my own hormone, somebody's hormone, would cause cancer?
All right, when we go back to what we've learned about the history of cancer and what cancer is actually, you will know that you would understand that this hormone has a cause is because it's highly proliferated. In women, estrogen is one of the leading causes of breast cancer, and then we will see that we can talk about why. Because when there is high production of estrogen in women, estrogen is one of the hormones that is important in helping us maintain some of our reproductive system. So high production of it can cause breast cancer, can also cause some other hormones. Then for men, we talk about testosterone and androgen in them. So this can also lead to prostate cancer.
Okay, so thank you so much for giving us that information. Do you have any final words for us regarding the causes of cancer?
My final words on the causes of cancer is that there are something that we learned in class that was very fascinating about causes of cancer, is that some of the theories that have been postulated, we have the somatic theory, we have the clonal evolution, and then the tissue field organization. But the most important one that I want us to go with is the somatic theory. That one says that cancer does not just occur, but a repeated exposure to a mutagen. What's a mutagen? A cause. So now, in this theory, it explains that you cannot just have cancer, but so it is what I feel is relatable to every one of us. So it is an accumulation of a lot of things that has been happening. And then when we go back to one of the things that I said, tiny habits forego a lot in our life. Let's try to have a review about things that we go through in our life and see how we can work on some of the things that we think are not really working with us. Sedentary lifestyle, let me talk about that, because really we need to get exercise once or twice a week, get moving. Our diets, what we eat, let's try to get tested for some of these genes, and then generally just be mindful of how you eat.
Thank you so much, Nosemi Ade. Thank you for making it to the hall. Final words, like she said, continuous exposure to mutagens can cause cancer. We should try to avoid this. If you are just joining us for the first time, this again is the Learn With Me series brought to you by Oncology Nurses in Training, National Hospital, Abuja. Join us next time, Mondays and Thursdays, to learn something new about cancer. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, share. You might just be saving someone from cancer. And also, I'd like to ask you, which of these risk factors are you going to avoid today? Let me know in the comment section. Have a nice time. Bye.